Alright, so I think I'm on here now. I wasn't planning on even being on this stream, but I also wasn't planning on being awake at this time. This was supposed to be 8 o'clock Eastern time. We're going live. I was supposed to be asleep right now, but it's going to be good. I saw Brochemo's on, so shout out to Brochemo for jumping on. I've been asking him, oh, my laptop's dented, that's cool. Been asking him for a while if he'd want to jump on, so I appreciate him jumping on. I'm going to grab my phone right quick. I'll be right back. So, we're going to go 2 rounds. There are no trades because people ruin trades. When we start getting more people, which hopefully, now that Brochemo's on board, we'll start getting some more people in here. Let me check to see how many peeps we got here. By the way, there's a link in the description to join. If you want to sign up, it is a paid site, but it is dirt cheap, and I can get you one cheaper. Type in the promo code PACKERNET, PACKERNET, all caps, and it's 20% off. I mean, look, for me and for guys like Brochemo and a lot of people that are in here, this is a no-brainer. We kind of just live for this stuff. I mean, some people live for mock drafts as it is. For me, not quite as much. As far as the simulators go, but when we start talking about doing this with people, with like real GMs, not robots, that's what gets me excited. So the next step right now is just getting more and more people in here. This is probably the second most full room we've had. Still a lot of teams left. We got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 teams. Again, I'm sticking with the Rams. I don't think they have a pick in the first 2 rounds. I'm not sure, so I don't think I'm picking because I'm doing talking and whatnot. But very excited to see that this many people showed up. And again, I want to start doing this more often. Not going to be able to do the talking thing every day, but I want to at least try to get these group things going, and I'll just throw it up when I can't do the talking, because it's still, I still just like watching it. I like watching because it mixes things up. You know, if you use a little bot simulator thing, it's the same thing every time. If you just look at people's mocks, they tend to be the same every time, but you start getting fans mixed in, you start getting in the human element, and I think yesterday when we did a mock, Penei Sewell went number 2, and that just threw the whole thing off, and everything was just different from there. So the human element thing is pretty cool. And again, once we start filling this all the way up, I want to start adding trades, because that adds a whole nother level of all of this, and then start adding more rounds. The reason, if you weren't paying attention in the last couple videos or didn't see them, that we don't do trades now is because what people will do is they'll offer ridiculous trades to bots that the bots can't turn down in future drafts. So they'll offer a 2022 first round pick to be able to move up, and then a 2023 first round pick to move up again, and they just give away every pick that they have in the future so that they can make as many picks as they can right now. If there's human beings in this mock, they're not going to do that. They're not going to accept those trades. So until we get a mock that has no bots in it, we're not going to do trades. So that is the thought process here. Looks like we've got several divisions that are full. The NFC North, the NFC East, the AFC East. We almost got the AFC North full. We need a Baltimore Ravens guy. Absolutely no love for the AFC West. Nobody cares. Not a single AFC West representative. But again, it's a relatively new site, and I'm pretty sure, I'm assuming, I should probably check, I'm assuming you can hear me, right? I'm not just talking to myself. There are people that exist out there listening to me talk. I don't really know for sure. But yeah, again, the kind of early stages, and we're just kind of playing with this format. It's a new website. There is a link in the description. I'm out of town right now, and we're doing a lot of stuff, so I haven't had a lot of time to get this all set up, but I did promise that I was going to do this, so I want to commit to it. But a lot of my graphics are all messed up, like link to vote in the description doesn't even make sense because we're not voting on anything. But we're doing what we can do here. So we got 3 more minutes. I think we can go into the room. We're going to go to the draft now. We use the default rankings again. You can set up your rankings, and They don't have a way right now, as far as I know, to upload things. Oh, and by the way, he said he set up a live chat for the people in here, which is pretty cool. So we can chat with all the people. What up, y'all? So, yeah, so now we have a chat that he just added, so you can talk to the people in the room, which is cool, because I was saying that would be a cool feature. And I do have the ear of the guy, and you can too if you want to reach out to him, because again, it's a relatively small operation. They just launched this site, so he's very receptive to change and whatnot. So be sure to reach out if you have any questions, comments, concerns. I've reached out with several different things, and this is a very well thought out product. I'm pretty excited about it. I haven't been doing it recently because there's a whole lot going on right now, but I'm excited to be doing this all throughout the draft season, which is what we're in right now. Eric says, yeah, well, you can probably see it on the screen right now. Wish people hadn't ruined the trades thing. Boston's doing good, man. I'm hoping you're watching, otherwise I'm not really talking to you. But Boston's good. I'm actually out here for a funeral, which kind of dampens the mood a bit, but it's going good. I like it out here. It's, I mean, the weather's terrible, but it's a nice city. So I could leave that up. I could close it. I don't know. Let's see what's going on here. We got 2 minutes left. Broshmo in the house. Yes, he is. Benjamin says, yes, we can hear you. I appreciate that, man. How do you get to the draft board? So, you must have missed it. Let me get rid of the what is it, this thing? Nope. Oh, it is that. Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. I'm trying to talk and do things at the same time. How do you get to the draft board? So there was a link right at the top. It said go to the room or whatever, and then you get into this room here. I don't know if what I just said made any sense. Let me minimize me because I'm not super important in this whole thing. What does Broshmo's setup look like? He'd probably put himself in a smart, I don't know where to put myself. I think that makes sense. Can't really see all the way to the left, but I don't think that makes a ton of difference. I don't even need to do the split screen for myself. There we go. I think that looks fine. That'll work. Oh, tired. You know what I should do is get some instant coffee going, man. But then I won't sleep, so I'll just leave it be. 1 minute, 10 seconds. So it looks like we don't have a bot until the Denver Broncos, which is very, very cool. We got the first 8 picks ready to rock and roll. Yeah, this is cool, man. Not a lot of bots, which is great. I love it. That's cool. I appreciate all you guys, by the way, showing up. I know it's kind of a challenge sometimes getting signed up for stuff, you know, especially when it's a paid thing and it's always kind of iffy, and you know, people are skeptical, like, oh, this guy's trying to make money or whatever the case may be. This isn't my site. I'm not trying to do that. I just, like I said before, I've been trying to do something like this for a really long time. The thing froze. Hold on, I gotta go back here. And when he messaged, and he wasn't even messaging me directly, he just wanted to post in my Facebook group. He's like, hey, I got this thing, can I post it in your group? And I'm like, wait, you got what thing? And he explained it to me, and I was just super excited, and I'm still excited. I love this. But I'll stop talking because we're about to get started here. AJ always likes to grab the Jaguars, and he is on the clock. So I want to make sure that volume is down because it gets very, very loud. And tell me right away, like, if you can't hear me because of I think I got the settings better, but like if this is drowning out, and I don't even think I need the stupid background music. I'll turn that down significantly. But if you can't hear me or whatever, just tell me in the comments section. I'll try to get that fixed. Do you Elton Jenkins is long-term plan for the Packers at tackle now that Rick Wagner's gone? Option, my general, a very, very good center, a good guard, and maybe like a mediocre tackle. So link to join in description. $5 a month. Yep, exactly right. It's only $5 a month. Tackle, not sickle. Yeah, I kind of figured, man. But we got our first pick. The pick is officially in for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let me know if you can hear me or not hear me or whatever. It's very loud in my headset, so I don't really know. Should be Trevor Lawrence, and it is. Good thing. And that was one of my other concerns. And you can, if you haven't seen, you can vote right here, which is kind of cool. I missed it there, but you can kind of get a live reaction to what people are saying, which I think that's a really cool feature. But I've been pretty happy too that nobody's done anything stupid like drafting punters or I'm sure one of these times somebody's going to do it and they're just going to ruin the whole thing because that's just the way people are. But for the most part, man, the people that are in here pretty excited, and they love doing this kind of stuff. So let's see what we get for the Jets. So there you go. You get Penei Sewell again to the Jets. I think most people are going to be pretty upset with that, but everybody, well, there you go. You got one angry, one shocked, and two happy. I had mentioned, oh, you know what? Maybe it was the Jaguars I mentioned taking Penei Sewell, and everyone said that was stupid, but the one guy I talked to had said that that was a good idea. Fortunately, that hasn't happened. I have heard a little bit more about Penei Sewell to the Jets being an option, but it doesn't seem to be everybody's favorite. I don't know exactly what the thought process is. If we're thinking keep Darnold or what, or if we like Darnold, I personally don't think that's a viable option. But I guess if you do, or I don't know, maybe Christopher might be in the chat. Maybe he can explain the thought process. But we got Mike with the Dolphins coming up very shortly. Brochmo has a bunch in his group also. Yeah, so I'm very glad Brochmo's here. He's got a huge following. He's been blowing up like crazy. I've been tracking him for a while. Jamar Chase, the Miami Dolphins, pretty common pick. We're actually in the same group together called Fan to Fan Network. We're both a part of that, so I've been tracking each individual guy in there because I'm a nerd that way. I like numbers and whatnot, and his channel's been blowing up more than anybody's. I mean, his and mine are both doing really well because they're draft-centric, but his has really taken off, so really happy for him and what he's got going on, and I'm really glad he's a part of this because, again, he draws such a massive crowd. Hopefully he can get more people on this site, and we can start doing some really cool mocks and whatnot. So that was pretty cool when I saw a stream pop up, and it kind of alluded to, and at first I was kind of like, man, he better not just be doing his own thing at the same time I'm doing mine, but he was actually in mine, which got me pretty excited. So Atlanta Falcons now on the clock. I'm assuming they're going quarterback, but we'll see what Zach decides to do with pick 4. Wow. So this is a very surprising mock so far. Not that it's a bad pick. I mean, anytime you go for a top guy, but the fact that we've got one quarterback and we're through. And this, by the way, if trades were allowed, 1,000,000,000% the Bengals are getting a massive haul right here, but they're not allowed. I mean, you've got so many teams. I mean, starting with the Lions. I know they just drafted a quarterback, but give me a break. The Lions would be making offers. The Panthers would be just absolutely losing their mind trying to come up. The Broncos would at least be making a call. You know, I mean, there's so many teams. The 49ers would be doing whatever they could to get up. It's crazy. So, Bengals obviously not going to quarterback, so they're going to fall even further. We'll see what they decide to do here. Probably a tackle. Gregory Rousseau. All right. It's not. I wouldn't say. I think actually in the last mock it was Gregory Rousseau. It's not that it's not a need. I think I'm just personally not a fan of Rousseau. I don't think he goes in the top 10, much less the top 5. But as far as positional need, I guess I can see it. But if I'm going to reach, I'm probably going to reach on a tackle. Justin Fields and Zach Wilson still both available. I do kind of think the Eagles went quarterback in my last mock. I don't know if this is the same person drafting or not. I don't really know. But it has been a pretty shocking mock so far with just about every pick with the exception of Trevor Lawrence and Jamar Chase. Assuming we're not going quarterback, which I can't really assume, I think Javonte Smith makes the most sense. Otherwise, you've always got the linebacker Micah Parsons sitting right there. Kyle Pitts. So that's another option as far as trying to get a weapon out there. I think Kyle Pitts goes in the top 10, so this wouldn't super surprise me, but it's still one of those things where you tend to think Javonte Smith would go earlier. Plus, just with the amount of talent that you've got in other places, it's kind of, you can see why there's so many angry faces on that one. Nobody really likes taking tight end early, but Lions pick is in. I would think this is a quarterback. I don't know. I don't even know anymore. Justin Fields. So, I mean, man, the Lions are doing backflips right now. I mean, obviously it comes down to which quarterback, but the fact that they've got all this sitting there at their disposal is crazy. Now, the bots do take up the full time because that they wanted to make sure that they're available for trades, but obviously we're not doing trades. So, get a little bit of time to catch our breath here. I would think with Oh, so Zach Wilson went right off the. See, that happens occasionally, and I think what happens is I was gonna say, why is Zach Wilson not here? So the Panthers did take Zach Wilson again. Just over the moon excited about the prospect for the Panthers to be able to get Zach Wilson at 8. But one of the things I noticed, I believe, is if you select over here, you can add to your queue, kind of like when you do fantasy football, you can add to your queue. I think if you add somebody to your queue, when your turn comes up, it just auto selects. So for the creators of the site, try to integrate a way where that doesn't happen, because it takes from the excitement of it, and it's kind of like you're confused, like, why are we at the Broncos right now? Sean Slater offensive. So again, another uncommon pick, at least in any mocks that I've personally done or seen. I haven't really been watching a ton of them, but that is not always the most common pick. I think Micah Parsons would have made a decent amount of sense. Not that they have terrible linebackers, just the idea behind Vic Fangio and really caring about linebackers and all that kind of stuff. Cornerback is typically the most popular pick here, but who knows with this mock, man. So he got Javonte Smith. Oh, I mean, you got to kind of laugh at that one. Look, I mean, it's just, I mean, are we going 4 wide all day long or what? What is the plan there? I don't know. Let's move on to the Giants, I guess. So we got Mike. I can't even talk. That's good though. Let's keep it rocking. We got 2 rounds to get through. Devontae Smith. So Jalen Waddle, that makes a lot more sense. And if anything, they're just mad at the. You know what? That's why Dallas did it. I'll explain it to you right now. Dallas took Devontae Smith, so the Giants couldn't get him, and they're just, I don't know. Maybe they'll trade him away to somebody else. 49ers, we got a bot on the clock, so we're gonna have to wait for that one. Let me check in with the comments real quick. We got quite a bit going on here. Trade down Falcons. They probably would if they could. Zach didn't take Zach Wilson. Didn't they draft A.J. Terrell? I don't know. What Patrick Surtain? We have to take your player card. See, I never know what you guys are talking about. That's part of the problem here. Rousseau has a high ceiling, but 1 year. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't see a lot of super high upside based on his statistics. When I was looking at PFF, I was kind of like, why is this guy so high? He's not even very good at stuff. San Francisco 49ers, see if they go Quiddy Pay, Trey Lance. So they are going to go quarterback. That does make sense. And a lot of this is going to get settled. And this is the other shoe to drop is free agency and who goes where, to see who ends up dealing who and what players go where. But with Trey Lance available, it does kind of make sense that they would go in that direction. Not enough experience for top 5, I agree. Eric says, honestly wanted to trade back, just didn't like the tackles here with Sewell gone. So that makes sense. And again, I want to get trades back on here because sometimes, especially if the whole point is to give you the GM experience, sometimes trading is the best option. Trading up, trading back, and we've had some great opportunities in this mock. But unfortunately, I've taken that away. But soon, we'll be able to do that. Another great value pick, Micah Parsons falling as far as he did. That's a fantastic thing. It's a little surprising again, going to the Chargers, but it's not as though they don't need it. It's just that I'm completely stuck on offensive tackle, and with Rashawn Slater going off the board, and I don't know exactly how they have it set up here. There is another tackle that you could do. See, and this thing scrolls way too fast for me. Christian Darrisaw, I think they have him at 18. I think that would be fine. I would happily take Christian Darrisaw there, but again, it's a value pick, and you can't be mad at that value there. Minnesota Vikings, lots of options. I love Quiddy Pay. Darrisaw is another great pick. Again, I'm still kind of questioning what the long-term plan for the offensive line is. Obviously, tackle is important, but my understanding is you have a right tackle, you have the left tackle of the future, unless you plan to kick him into guard, but I just think he would be a terrible guard. So I like the general thought process of building up the offensive line. I just feel like interior, especially guard, seems to be the way to go. But again, set me straight on that one. The Patriots always end up getting usually a really good playmaker, but I don't think there's a ton of really good playmakers currently available. Didn't get a chance to look though, so we'll see what they do. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I mean, there's a lot of things they could have done. I'm excited that we get something other than a big-time playmaker like Kyle Pitts always falls to them. I mean, I really think Kwity Paye would have been a good there's a lot that they can do. It's similar to the Packers where there's almost any one position you can look at and be like, yeah, I could see it. You know, there's nothing where it's like, why would you take that pick? Obviously, quarterback is not an option for the Packers where it is for the Patriots. So just about, I don't want to say literally because my brain is kind of fried right now. I'm super tired and I can't picture what the roster looks like, but I can't think offhand any one position where it's like, no, you just absolutely can't touch it. Cardinals, cornerback, and they're in a great position. Caleb Farley should be an auto pick here, I would think, unless you're a J.C. Horn fan. But this should be a cornerback. If it's not, this whole mock is just crazy. Oh. I get it. It's not that it's not a big need. It's just I don't know if it's as big of a need, and Caleb Farley is probably he's higher on the board. I don't know, but edge rusher is probably the second biggest need. So I'm not gonna get sued. It's just shocking. It's just a shocking draft all around. And it's fun because every time we do this, it's like, oh, this is probably Kwity Paye, and then Kwity Paye gets drafted. And it's like, oh, this is probably Caleb Farley, and Caleb Farley. It's boring every single time. So it's nice to be outside the box. And again, it's not a stupid pick. It's not, punter. It's not something crazy like quarterback. It's a massive need for the team. And Jordan just looked at it and said, yeah, the best guy that I really want is Kwity Paye. And what's more important than an edge rusher? Not too many things. The bot for the Raiders is up. Lots of different options here. Yep, so again, the only reason I keep saying this, and people are probably tired of hearing me saying it, the only reason that's not a good option is because what you did in free agency last year. You shouldn't be on the market for a linebacker, and the fact that you are does not reflect very positively on your ability to be a GM. Not talking about the bot here, obviously the real GM, Mike Mayock. That's kind of an embarrassment to take the top two linebackers in free agency and then your number one pick next year is a linebacker because both of those guys were garbage. But it's a need, so they keep going linebacker here. I just personally think in real life, Mayock is not going to do that. I just think that's too negative of a reflection. So the Dolphins took a wide receiver the first time around. I mean, there's, again, a lot of options. You can absolutely go Caleb Farley here. You could pretty much do whatever you want. I think defense would make sense, or grab that tackle and keep going on the offensive line to keep working around your... Wow. So Javonte Williams is flying up the board quite a bit. He's worked his way up into the solid early second round category. I don't know why. I mean, obviously Mike just loves Javonte Williams, and it's just a personal preference thing. I would be stunned. Not necessarily that it goes round one, but with ETN on the board and with... the Alabama guy, again, brain is fried, I can't think. What is his name? Doesn't matter. He's here somewhere. Najee Harris. There's no way. But again, it's on theme for what we've been seeing, and somebody's going to get an absolute steal in Travis Etienne and Najee Harris, probably in the second round. Washington on the clock. Let's see if they go Mac Jones. Offensive tackle Sam Cosmi sitting right here. Plenty of options. Alex Leatherwood. So I've been missing a couple of the picks, especially with the auto picks and whatnot, but I feel like unless this is a Packer fan choosing for the Bears, this should be an auto pick for Mac Jones. Now again, it's personal preference. If Eli's looking at it saying, I don't like Mac Jones, it won't be, but usually Mac doesn't fall here, and if he does, I think that's the pick. No, doesn't like Mac Jones. That answers that question. I mean, there's not, similar to the Bears, there's not a lot of terrible options. Typically, the thought process is offensive tackle, quarterback. If not quarterback, you go offensive tackle. If not that, you go wide receiver. I have not seen corner here, but again, it's a value pick, and that's what I love about it. Most of the fans, when they do mocks, they simply are looking at position. I need a tackle, so I'm taking a tackle. I'm taking Sam Cosmi. Caleb Farley was the 14th best player on the board. Sam Cosmi was like the 20th. taking the value, right? We got a lot of things to build. Take the best player. I respect the heck out of that. And there goes Sam Cosmi to the Indianapolis Colts, which does make a lot of sense. They just locked up their quarterback. We'll leave aside what you think of that quarterback. They lost Costanzo, so now we get a replacement for Costanzo. Get a couple, some defensive help, and that team is right back on track again, depending on what we're getting out of our quarterback. Tennessee Titans, typically we're looking for some kind of pressure. Obviously, off the edge would make the most sense. However, if there happens to be a defensive tackle, there's not a lot on the board here, but Barmore is an option. I think this particular board has guys like Ojulari outside of the first, but my consensus board has Jalen and Ojulari inside, so I don't think that would be a terrible pick here. It's a reach on this board. I don't think it's a reach, though, but we'll see what the Tennessee... They probably won't because it's a bot, and they're going to go off based off this board, so we'll see what they decide to do. Rondale Moore. So that's a super popular pick, not necessarily Rondale, but going wide receiver. The consensus, obviously, is that they're going to be moving on from one of their two wide receivers. I personally would not if I was the Tennessee Titans. I think via PFF you had basically two top 10 wide receivers this year. I think you find a way to make that work and you just make them stick around. So that's me, though. And if you don't want to go that route, I understand getting that second wide receiver locked up. But I also don't think it needs to be round one. I think you really need to get that defensive pass rush priority number one. If you can't, you can't. And there's nothing against getting wide receiver, but that would not be my top priority if I were the Tennessee Titans. And I think it's fine if you want to wait to get that second wide receiver. So the Jets end up getting Travis Etienne. Who did they? Oh, they got Penei Sewell, right? So we're kind of going for that tough kind of ground and pound kind of thing, I guess. I don't know. I mean, we're going to build up the offensive line. We're going to get a running back. We're going to be the New York Jets, apparently. I don't know, but or the New York Giants. See what I mean? Nothing going on upstairs right now. We're going to be the New York Giants. We're going to get a great offensive line and a great running back, and that's how we're going to rock this. So I believe this is Broschmo. He knows what he wants for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Offensive line has been pretty popular since they're losing a lot of guys, but Mac Jones also typically doesn't make it this far. That's sort of an auto pick, I think, for the Steelers. Again, if you like Mac Jones, obviously Broschmo saw that as an absolute steal at this part in the game. So the Jaguars, they went out and got Trevor Lawrence to start this thing. They're back on the clock. Typically, you're going to see some kind of a weapon or offensive line to help your quarterback. Wyatt Davis is sitting right here. You got Rashad Bateman sitting right there. Another team where you got plenty of options, but I'm typically you just want to make sure that your quarterback succeeds is the number one job at this point. Nope, absolutely disagree. And again, not because that's a bad option. And if you have a ton of holes to fill, you should probably go best player available. But you want job security, make your quarterback a star. That's the only reason why I would be very, very in favor of that, as opposed to just going value, which is typically always the right thing to do. Andrew sitting here with the Browns. We also have edge is very popular here. Wide receiver would probably only want to be a pick if we're stuck on OBJ leaving. I don't exactly know what's up with that. I know we've been hearing that for forever, right? Since he was with the Giants, like he's going to be gone. I don't think that's going to be the case. Offensive line probably is not going to be the pick unless somebody's leaving. Zaven Collins, I think, is a fantastic pick here. There you go. So Zaven Collins is an absolute stud as a linebacker, but the biggest problem is he plays for Tulsa. So there's a question of competition level and whatnot. But I love watching him play. I think he's a very good, versatile player. I mean, in coverage against the run. The fact that he's as good as he is in coverage at 260 just kind of blows me away. Ravens are in a real good spot because there's a bunch of wide receiver options here, and that's been my number one thing. Just because it's such a good team, but the one thing they just really struggle with, and it's kind of a shame because they have a talented quarterback, they just have not been able to get him any weapons at wide receiver. And I know they're typical rebuttal is, well, they're not good at drafting and developing, so they should just go out in free agency. But that's not really a strategy when you're a GM to say, I suck at it, so let's punt. You need to find somebody. There you go, Wyatt Davis. So, a team that likes getting as much bulk at the offensive line as humanly possible. They'll run, 6-7 offensive linemen, and just to bulldoze people out of the way and run the ball, and they do a great job of it. And if that's the way you want to play football, you got to stay stocked up at those positions. So there you go, Wyatt Davis to the Baltimore Ravens. Saints don't really have an option at quarterback right now, so we're kind of just trying to build around what we have at this particular point in time. Again, you could find a secondary edge. You could go out and find, a linebacker. You can get another wide receiver. Again, there's not a ton you can't do. Running back probably isn't going to be the pick. Let's see. Javon Holland, Terrace Marshall. There you go, Terrace Marshall. Spoke it into existence. I don't know, man. I guess if you're kind of weak at the position of quarterback, that is, make it better. Just putting lipstick on a pig, I guess. I don't know what we're doing exactly with that. But, yeah, just keep the fire stoked as best as you can. If you can't do quarterback, find weapons elsewhere. Casey's got the Packers, wide receiver, always a popular pick for the Packers, but that's, again, kind of a fractured thing. It's going to depend what Casey thinks. Running back is off the table, probably not going to be a safety. Tevin Jenkins has become a very popular pick for the Packers. I think, I forget exactly who it was. Somebody just did a mock draft, one of the national guys, and had Tevin Jenkins going there. So that's obviously an option. Christian Barmore, very popular pick for the Packers as well. So they're in a really good spot right now. Kadarius Toney. So a very versatile guy, good hands, great yards after the catch. Kind of one of the biggest issues. Aaron Rodgers, his wide receivers have the most dropped yards of anybody for 2 years running. Drops are a serious thing. So you get a guy with some good hands and some great yard after the catch ability, and that's going to be able to help out a lot. Plus, in LaFleur's scheme, it's when you get guys that you just get the ball in their hand and see what they can do. Matt LaFleur really likes that kind of thing. Again, edge, very popular here. We haven't seen those guys really go off the board at all. And there you go, Jason Owe, edge rusher out of Penn State. Not super high on these particular boards, but a fantastic pick and a great value, I think, for the Buffalo Bills right there. Kansas City Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then we are on to round 2. We got 2 bots here. I don't think you can still join at this point. That was a setting that I had changed, so if you didn't get in, make sure you get in next time around. Kansas City Chiefs definitely love taking wide receiver. I do think that there is some concern after that last game for offensive line. Granted, injuries and all that were there, and there's a reason why, but it just goes to show how important that is and how catastrophic it is when you don't have an offensive line. I think that gets undersold a lot of times, and it just goes to show how important, even for the Chiefs, where you think it's all Mahomes, you got to have an offensive line. So we'll see what they do here. Tevin Jenkins, there you go. So again, it's not that you have a bad offensive line. It's just that we got to have this figured out. And there are some concerns for offensive line in terms of age, in terms of guys' contracts coming up and those kinds of things. And I had mocked offensive linemen to the Chiefs in the past, and it wasn't super well received. But I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit more of a positive reaction after what happened in the Super Bowl, where that was absolutely catastrophic. Barmore would make a good amount of sense for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Always looking to help continue to bolster that defensive line with a bunch of guys that are going to be leaving. Running back, safety, I think could be an option. They have that really great safety that they drafted last time, but teams are running 3 safety all the time anyway, so it's not an option. Azeez Ojulari, the edge rusher, makes sense. I'm guessing Barmore here, but we'll see. There you go. So it's just one of those things that, as a non-Buccaneers fan, everybody that is not a Buccaneers fan looks at it, goes, oh. It's just, man, I was really looking forward to them not having a good defensive line, and then they go get Barmore. So Jaguars back on the clock. They got their quarterback. They got a really good and great value at J.C. Horn, and now we're in a really good spot to possibly, we'll see, get a guy like Bateman, which would really just be the perfect pick because you chose not to do that before, and now you get the opportunity to still get him. Jalen Mayfield. So similar thought process. We're going back to the offensive side of the ball, possibly even more important, just because keeping him on his feet. I mean, he's a mobile quarterback. He can do all those kinds of things. And if you build up the offensive line, that's just going to help you because it helps you with the run game. It helps you pass. It helps everything that you're going to be doing. So Jets are in, and this is where it gets to be hard to remember what everybody got. But so we're continuing to build that offense, even though we still don't have a quarterback. Falcons auto-picked Azeez Ojulari. Very popular going defensive line. They got Jamar Chase and Javonte Williams the last time. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong team. Let's move to the Miami Dolphins now. That's what I meant to say. The Miami Dolphins got those guys. But we can kind of do this, so let's make sure. Here we go. So we got Jamar Chase and Javonte Williams for the Miami Dolphins. So obviously we're helping to build up that offense. Another wide receiver is not completely off the table, but I don't know if there's a lot of good options left. Defense would make the most sense. It was a talented defense, but there's still plenty of positions that can be upgraded for sure, and I think at just about every position. You can make a case for at least one of those people being upgraded, but we'll see what they do here. It does seem like defense is the best option, so edge rusher would make a good amount of sense here. Trayvon Moehrig, free safety out of TCU. So again, I mean, it's a massive help because they've got such a great defensive mind. As a head coach, and they're such a good defensive team, but I don't know that the players are necessarily super uber elite players, and you start adding some really good players to what they've already got, and you've got some pretty scary stuff going on. So the Philadelphia Eagles now obviously have their quarterback of the future, possibly, if they're 100% committed. I mean, they traded away Wentz. You have to assume that's additional confidence in their new quarterback of the future. They added Kyle Pitts to help them out. We'll see what other kind of help they decide to get him. They could go Najee Harris here, possibly, or we just start to focus on the defense. Defensive line would not be the worst option in the world. If you want to know what people are going to pick, just pick the one thing that I didn't say. But I have been banging the table for a long time about getting some additional cornerback help for the Philadelphia Eagles. So I can't say that it's all that surprising of a pick, although I was obviously surprised that it happened. But it's been a black mark for that team for quite a while, and it does need to get rectified. Gregory Rousseau went to the Bengals. Again, offensive line is massively important. I think at this point you have to take an offensive lineman. He wants defensive line all day. To heck with that quarterback, man. Who cares about that stupid guy? We need to rush the passer better, because obviously it's important to make sure that other teams don't have a quarterback, because that's how you beat them. Which is why we should probably get, offensive line. But that's all right. It is important. They got to get the defensive line going. Carolina Panthers now on the clock. Let's see what Carolina's done thus far. So they were able to get Zach Wilson. So they're I hope they even get a pick in, because they've been doing backflips. They're probably partying right now. I hope they're not at the bar celebrating this pick, because getting Zach Wilson at 8 is kind of ridiculous. It won't be Najee Harris unless they obviously they didn't make a trade for Christian McCaffrey because they got a quarterback. So that's the only name I saw. Pat Freiermuth. So personally, I'm a little iffy on Pat, but it's obviously a pretty good value. This is about where he goes, early second round, and we're getting Zach Wilson some help right away. And again, since we're not doing running back, we're kind of limited, and a lot of the wide receivers went, and as you can see, there's not a ton here, so you're looking at offensive line or Pat Freiermuth. So Carolina Panthers obviously looking to help out their quarterback, which is, as I've said before, the absolute most important thing. Denver Broncos now on the clock, and we got a bot so I can breathe. Denver took Rashawn Slater, offensive tackle. Edge is going to be important because I don't know what's going on with Von Miller. Anything along the defensive side is going to be really helpful. Offense is not the worst, although offensive line or quarterback would help, but quarterback is not an option here. So I'm thinking defense, which means it's going to be offense. Nope, there you go. Perfect. So as I said, a lot of questions around Von Miller. I mean, he was not going to be there for a very long time anyways, but now we're talking about possible legal issues and whatever else he's got going on. It's not looking great for him being around for too much longer. The Detroit Lions, believe, if I'm not mistaken, got Justin Fields, so they're also doing some backflips. They've been trying to get running back for some time out there, but I don't think they go Najee Harris. I mean, you could go safety. Edge would be fantastic. I think Jalen Phillips is a borderline auto pick here because they desperately need some defensive line help. Paulson Adebo, if you want to get that second quarterback to complement the guy that you just drafted last year. Again, whatever. There you go. So defensive line, and obviously this is preference. I'm not a big Davion Nixon fan, but a lot of people really like him. And defensive line is massively important for the Detroit Lions. You have to take that quarterback because he's sitting there. But after that, I mean, defensive line is a number one priority. New York Giants on the clock. Bing, 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 bing. Giants the last time around took Jalen Waddle, so they were able to get that help there. Again, defensive line, it's a good defensive line, but I don't know about necessarily edge rush, right? You've got some stout defensive tackles. I still think getting an edge rusher in there would be massively helpful. Obviously, running back is not an option. I mean, you could go safety. You could definitely go corner, I think would be helpful. Plenty of options here. Yeah, so again, I was super impressed with what the defensive line was able to do last year, and the linebackers look pretty good and everything. But just getting that true rush off the edge, I think, is going to be massively important for the New York Giants. Next up, we've got the San Francisco 49ers. S for San Francisco. So they were able to snag Trey Lance as the quarterbacks fell further down the board. Typically, you want to, again, help that guy out a little bit. I don't think tight end is going to be the pick. However, a lot of people really like that option. Najee Harris is absolutely an option. It's a team that does well with the running backs that they have, but getting a true stud running back could really change the dynamic of the team, obviously. But, edge would make sense. You could go safety. A lot of options. Corner is incredibly important. I don't know if anybody was available. Deontay Smith, interior offensive line, East Carolina. Again, it's a running football team. You get the Kyle Shanahan style of offense. You got to get the offensive line bolstered up. It does make sense. You start getting a little bit nervous that you don't have a corner at this point. With Paulson Adebo there, it certainly would have been an option. But, again, these are all needs. Nobody's picking anything that's just completely silly as far as that's not even a need, as far as I can tell. Jay, I know, did something super crazy last time. I don't remember what it was, though. See if he takes a wide receiver here. Let's just see if he takes a wide receiver or a running back, because why not, right? I just want to see what he does. I got no comment here. We'll just see what Jay does for the Dallas Cowboys. There you go. So I actually really like that pick a lot. I like I've been saying for a while, I'm not a huge Dallas Cowboys fan, but I was super envious of what they were able to do with their offensive line, and they have to get back to that. So I love that. Jaguars get another pick. Paulson Adebo, cornerback out of Stanford. So they're just hitting on all kinds of stuff here. Jaguars going offense, defense, and they're just cleaning up everything that is to be had. Who's up next here? We've got the Patriots back at it. I know they did not get a typical pick last time, but I don't remember what it was. I'm looking for P for Patriot. That's not how that works. Okay, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Again, the Patriots are kind of wide open. Najee Harris seems like a little bit too much of a luxury pick for the Patriots, if I'm being honest. Free safety would work. Edge would work. Offensive line always helps unless you've got 5 great offensive linemen. I think you could always go offensive line. So we'll see what they decide to do here. Not a lot of great quarterback options after you get past Mac, but we'll see. Quincy Roche, edge rusher out of Miami. Again, edge makes perfect sense. It's not that, and again, a lot of times when I say it makes sense, people are like, you're an idiot, they have a good pass rusher. I don't care. I mean, unless you've got 2 really stout edge rushers, it's you could always add a second one. And so, obviously, Bill Belichick has always done a good job of putting certain guys in good positions to succeed, but I don't know that they have the firepower to turn down a good edge rusher like that. The Chargers is on the clock. Where do they even play anymore? I forgot what city they're in. That's how bad it's getting. Actually got a sneak peek at what they picked. That's not great, but I didn't see it. I'm assuming we're going offensive line here, and there you go. Creed Humphrey, interior offensive line, Oklahoma. So Creed Humphrey is a center out of Oklahoma. I'm assuming you can put him at guard if you need him to, but it really doesn't matter. Just about anywhere along that offensive line is going to be able to help. So Brandon getting a great value at Micah Parsons at 13, and then starts getting this after some of these needs in the second round. Next up, I can see down here who's picking. I don't know why I have to keep going back like that, because I'm dumb. That's why. That would be the reason. Las Vegas Raiders, Nick Bolton. Really? Did I just completely sleep through that pick? They picked Nick Bolton at 17. That's a surprising pick. But again, it's a preference pick. This is, no, it's not, because it's a bot. I don't know what he was doing. I have no idea. That must have just been where he's ranked on this particular board here, that they just have Nick Bolton really high. Well, we're not really going after the heavy hitters here. We're getting a linebacker and a guard. You know, it's not that it's not a need. That's not what we're saying here, but you're looking at a team saying, you know, do we have the quarterback we need? Do we have, like, the edge rushers we need? Do we have, you know, the offensive line is getting a little bit old. Do we have what we need there? I don't know if I'm guard and linebacker is the direction I'm going. So, again, Arizona, and I don't remember if they had picked one last time. They did not get an edge rusher. So, and again, I hung my head when he did Kwity Paye just because it's like everything I say is wrong. It was a very good pick, and they ended up getting Shaun Wade. Now, Shaun Wade is probably going to stay in the slot, which is the one thing that you have to be concerned about, but it's still a position that you need. And you could end up getting, you know, some of these guys that they're inside-outside guys, and, you know, you get a guy like Jair Alexander. You bring him in saying this is just a slot guy, and obviously the Packers had different plans, and he ended up just staying outside because he's such a good player. I don't necessarily think that's what they're getting here, but we'll see. Miami, again, heavy help with the offense in the beginning of the first round. Beginning of the second round, we're starting to go defense. Looks like we're still very heavy defense unless he goes Najee Harris here. There you go. So I couldn't see quite how far down he was, if that was a preference pick or a board pick, but Dylan Radunz, definitely a consensus second round pick out of NDSU. You know, just again, he's a really talented guy that just dominates. It's just the NDSU thing that scares you. But again, just more help for our quarterback, which obviously is the most important thing. Washington now on the clock. The only thing I know about Washington is they didn't take a quarterback. They took Alex Leatherwood, which similar to the Bears. I mean, it's either quarterback, or if you don't get a quarterback, you typically go tackle. Question is, what do you do here? I mean, you can still do offensive line if you so choose. There's always defensive help, although the defense was the strength. Similar to Miami, there's always holes to be filled to get better. He did go Kyle Trask. All right. So Kyle Trask has been falling quite a bit. It looked like he was a little higher on this particular board, but from what I've seen, he might be falling into the third round. But again, it's a preference thing. If you like him, take him. And Washington's in a position now where it's like if Kyle Trask doesn't work out, so what? I mean, we don't have a guy, so we're gonna pick up Leatherwood, which is more important because that guy's gonna anchor down our line for a long time. Kyle Trask is a shot in the dark. If it works, awesome. We got a guy in the second round. If it doesn't, it doesn't, and I'll be able to sleep soundly at night. Chicago Bears getting Caleb Farley, definitely a surprising pick. Again, offensive tackle and wide receiver tend to be the top two for the team when quarterback isn't an option, and it certainly isn't right here. But we'll see what he decides to do. So another surprising pick, we're going DB again. I mean, obviously one of the strengths of the defense is their safety, but we're just talking about one of their safeties. Again, you can kind of throw a dart and hit a position that's a need for the Bears. Cornerback you don't typically think of, but who's a real stud cornerback that they have? And if somebody came to mind, let me just tell you you're wrong, because they don't really have a stud lockdown corner. Colts pick is in. I'd have a comment if I could remember who they picked last time. I think they did take a tackle. I remember that because I was saying that became the next most important thing, and I think this here is the second most important thing. Clearly a great value pick here, getting Patrick Jones. We're now in the middle of the second round, so I think the Indianapolis Colts are doing a fantastic job. They've got some great value falling to them. Again, you've got your quarterback, you've got your tackle. Now you go to the defensive side of the ball and get a much-needed edge rusher. I think this is a fantastic draft, only having 2 picks so far. Tennessee Titans kind of mad about that pick probably because they desperately need edge rusher, and I'm pretty sure they didn't get him last time. They opted to go for Rondale Moore as a bot, so I can talk as much trash as I want. But I do think getting some kind of defensive line, or at least defensive help in some capacity, would be great. Well, they got defense. I can say that much. It still would be nice to be able to generate some kind of pressure for Tennessee, but it doesn't seem to be in the cards. Again, I think the first round would have been the time to do that because, now we're getting a little bit more sparse. Seattle now on the clock. Obviously, they have not picked anybody yet. Still relatively a throw a dart at it kind of team. I mean, obviously you don't need quarterback, and you're probably set at wide receiver, but I mean, you could go Najee Harris, even though that seems a little bit of a luxury kind of thing. I mean, you could go, obviously, pretty much anywhere along the defensive line. Your linebackers, I know you've got talented linebackers and you have young linebackers, but you also have guys leaving and you got guys that are not good who are young. So there's again, whatever you pick is fine. Just not a quarterback and you're good. Yeah. So I mean, defensive line is defensive line and offensive line are the two most important things, and I think edge rusher, obviously edge and offensive tackle are the two most important when you're talking about Pittsburgh on the clock here. When you're talking about the value as well as the need, the tackle and edge are the most important things. So we got Roche back on the clock. They got their quarterback. Najee Harris is a fantastic pick in the first round. I mean, that was for a long time an auto pick. Hopefully Brochmo didn't bail out here. But that used to be an auto pick for the team. I know offensive line, again, has become kind of a problem, but I don't see offensive linemen here immediately available. So I'm guessing that's going to be the pick. At the very least, you're going to make a lot of fans with Steelers fans here. Oh, I do have to make a pick. That sucks. I always forget about that. So offensive line, again, very important position for the Steelers, who are now watching people leave. They had their center, I believe, retire, and it's just they're getting old. They're starting to leave pretty quickly. Rams now on the clock. I never know what to do here. let's see. I think linebacker is a pretty important position to pick. Could always go defensive line and just make the one strength we have there. I mean, the one elite strength even stronger. That would be kind of funny. Let's see. Cornerback is the one thing I don't want to pick. I'm just going to go, where did the linebacker go? I'm just going to draft Dylan Moses. The one pick I don't care about is the one I have to make. But linebacker has been a need for the Rams for quite some time, and in fact, the edge rushers I think are important too. And had I seen one, I would have picked one. But we'll just stick with that for now. All right. So we've got. Oh, that's where that is. So you can see how people voted on your picks. I knew that was a thing before. It would be nice if all the picks had that, so you can see how people reacted. But I can't do that. So, anyways, Cleveland now on the clock. Zaven Collins was a very good pick for them in the first round. Continuing on with that, I don't think running back, so Najee Harris probably continues to fall. I think free safety would absolutely be an option. Defensive tackle, I think, is absolutely an option to continue to build that defensive line to help out Myles Garrett. Tufele, I think, is more of a run defending defensive tackle, if I'm not mistaken. So, depending on how you feel about that, it's not necessarily a bad thing. But if you're looking for pass rush, I don't know that that's the guy, but we'll see what they picked here. Yep, so you're just getting that number 2 corner outside of Ward. Again, if you call it a need, people are going to get mad because you have a good corner. But having 2 really solid corners is massively beneficial, and obviously that's what we're shooting for here. Baltimore Ravens back on the clock at 2:27. We did not get a wide receiver. We have Elijah Moore, who's a very talented guy out of Mississippi. That definitely is an option. I think that would make a lot of sense. Running back, again, probably not a massive priority here. The defense, again, similar to what I said about Miami and a couple other teams, they do a good job, but that doesn't mean you have elite pieces everywhere. I genuinely think you can add to just about any defensive spot, and at least, I mean, you could still get better. There you go. So, fantastic. And it's always nice, too, when you don't come through in that first pick and it's kind of disappointing. It's like, look, I get it. I get Wyatt Davis, but, man, I wish we had gotten a wide receiver. And you come back in the second round like, dude, what are you freaking out about? Like, I got this. Chill. He's got it. New Orleans Saints on the clock. Getting Terrace Marshall. Again, the direction is the thing that kind of confuses me. What direction are we trying to go here? And that's not just me picking on the bot. I genuinely just don't know, because it's like we have a car without an engine right now. You know, we've got all these great pieces, but where are we going with it? I don't know. I don't know exactly what the best direction to go would be, other than to just keep building up the foundational pieces. I'd love another edge rusher, continue building that offensive line, grab another guard, you know, to fill that gap. Yeah, so more defensive line help, you know, exactly right. You know, again, edge, defensive line, offensive guard, just get the foundational pieces in place so that whenever we find that quarterback, we're ready to take off. And maybe we'll find him in free agency, or maybe we have him already on the team, which I doubt, but we can say that that's the case. Green Bay Packers took a wide receiver last time. Now, as it stands, Levi Onwuzurike makes a decent amount of sense. Defensive line, in fact, that would be a great 1-2 for Mr. Casey here. Elijah Molden actually would make a good amount of sense with Kevin King likely leaving. Again, they got Jair, and that's great, but how much do you have after that? Trey Smith, I think, would make sense. Darius Stills makes sense. Plenty of options. Again, Packers are in a good spot. I think I saw it. I think I saw the pick. Yep. So they did just get rid of Rick Wagner, who is a tackle. So you got your auto pick there. Let's go see who that was for Buffalo really quick. So you've got your the Packers right tackle left, which means Billy Turner's probably going to go to right tackle, which kind of leaves the interior wide open, right? You've got Elton Jenkins at guard. You currently have Corey Linsley. You at the very least need Trey Smith. Corey Linsley may not be back, though. He's currently a free agent. Najee Harris to Buffalo. I mean, again, Buffalo, another team that's now doing backflips to have Najee Harris fall to him there. Jason Owe is a fantastic pick. And then you get arguably the best running back in this class at the end of the second round is fantastic. Kansas City now getting that. I believe they got an offensive lineman the first time around. Yes, Tevin Jenkins. It would be nice to add some help. I know wide receiver is popular, although I don't see a ton of wide receiver options here. Defensive line to get, again, we have a great defensive lineman, get some additional help. Edge would make sense. Corner would be fine with me. There's a lot you can do. Free safety, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, Kansas City, more than just about any team, when I look at the pieces that they have, I just shrug and go, it's okay, I guess. But they do a really good job. But anyways, Tampa Bay has got our final pick, and I think they fixed that glitch where the last team, it used to be that the last team, it just pops up like, okay, that's the end. I think they fixed that, so we're going to get a nice clean ending. Christian Barmore was a fantastic pick for Tampa in the first round. They probably don't want Onwuzurike now. I guess they could if they wanted to get two. Cornerback is still an option, not because they have bad corners, but because it's an option. Edge rusher would make sense. You've got, I don't know the contractual situation with the wide receivers, but I do think they're going to be losing at least one more. So maybe as a long-term option, that's possibly an option. Offensive line, in my opinion, again, is always an option. There you go. So again, not because they have bad corners, they have at least one very good corner, but we're going to become elite at the entire spectrum of the position. So I did abandon the comments because it's too rapid fire, too quick pace, and I forgot that I was covering up some of these so you couldn't see it. But yeah, I appreciate you guys being here. I got to get some sleep. I think tomorrow I'm not going to be out quite as late. I should be able to get back a little bit earlier, so I won't be as brain fried, and I'll be a little bit more prepared. And again, this was supposed to be from 8 to 9, not from 9 to 10, so I messed that up. But I appreciate you guys coming out. And again, please consider joining. It's walkthemock.com. You can use promo code PACKERNET, all caps, to get 20% off. It's only $5 a month, so 20% off is, we're talking $4 a month, right? But try to get in there, because once we fill up all these teams, we're going to open up trades, we're going to open up more rounds, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And we'll see, depending on what my time frame is for tomorrow, we might be able to open up all those things. But be on the lookout for the next link, because I'm going to put one up for tomorrow. So make sure you subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification so you don't miss it when it happens. You'll see the link drop in there and you can join. Otherwise, I got to go to bed.